Listen to me. I don't know who needs to hear this, but I came to tell you today, your blessing is closer than you think. I know you've been grinding. I know you've been struggling. I know life has thrown everything at you, but hear me when I say this. You are on the edge of something great. See, most people give up right before the breakthrough. Most people quit when the pain gets too much, when the pressure feels like it's too heavy. But you're different. You've come too far. You've sacrificed too much, and I refuse to let you walk away when you're this close. I need you to understand something. Struggle is a sign that the blessing is near. Pressure is proof that purpose is in motion. If you weren't meant for greatness, life wouldn't be testing you like this. The enemy wouldn't be attacking you like this. But guess what? If you're still standing, that means you're still in the fight. And if you're still in the fight, that means victory is still possible. But here's the catch. It's not going to come easy. That blessing that's waiting for you, it requires one more push. It requires you to wake up every day with fire in your spirit. It requires you to show up even when you don't feel like it. It requires you to have faith when nothing makes sense. So I'm asking you today, are you willing to go all in? Are you willing to push past the pain? Are you willing to trust that everything you've been through is preparing you for something bigger than you can imagine? Because if you are, then let me tell you, the blessing is already yours. It's waiting for you. Now go claim it. Struggle is a sign that the blessing is near. Most people misunderstand struggle. They see it as a sign to stop, a reason to turn back, a confirmation that they aren't meant for something great. But that's the biggest lie. Struggle is not a stop sign. It's proof that something powerful is happening. It's proof that you are in motion. It's proof that something is shifting in your life. Think about it. Every major breakthrough in history came right after intense struggle. Every great success story has moments where the person felt like giving up. But those who kept going, those who refused to surrender, those who looked struggle in the eye and said, "I'm not quitting," were the ones who walked into their blessing. The problem is that most people don't recognize struggle for what it is. They see it as an obstacle instead of a doorway. They see it as punishment instead of preparation. When you start pursuing something bigger than yourself, struggle is inevitable. The moment you step out of your comfort zone, life will test you. The moment you decide to chase that dream, to go after that goal, to break generational curses, struggle will show up. It has to, because struggle is the refining process. Struggle is what separates the ones who say they want it from the ones who actually mean it. It's easy to talk about success. It's easy to dream about the future, but struggle asks the question, how bad do you really want it? See, most people think struggle means they are off track, but what if struggle is actually the best confirmation that you are exactly where you're supposed to be? What if the resistance you're facing is proof that you are pushing into new territory? What if the pain you're feeling is a sign that growth is happening? Because growth is painful, change is uncomfortable. Becoming the person you were meant to be will require you to go through things that most people aren't willing to endure. Think about a seed buried in the dirt. At first, it looks like nothing is happening. It's underground, covered in darkness, hidden from the world. But beneath the surface, something powerful is taking place. The roots are digging deep, the foundation is being built, and then, after all that struggle, after all that pressure, the breakthrough happens. The seed pushes through the soil and reaches for the sun. But it could never grow without the struggle underground. It could never reach its full potential without first being buried. That's how struggle works in your life. You might feel buried right now. You might feel like nothing is happening. You might feel like the weight is too much to carry. But I promise you, something is happening beneath the surface. Something is being built. A foundation is being set. And the deeper the struggle, the stronger the foundation. Look at the people who inspire you. Look at the ones who have accomplished great things. Every single one of them has a story of struggle. Every single one of them had moments when they wanted to quit. The difference is they didn't let the struggle break them, they let it build them. They didn't see struggle as a sign to stop. They saw it as a sign to push harder. When you go to the gym and lift weights, what happens? Your muscles break down, they tear, they get sore. That's the struggle. But if you keep pushing, if you keep showing up, those muscles rebuild stronger than before. That's how growth works. That's how progress happens. Struggle is the process of breaking the old to build the new. Struggle is the pressure that transforms coal into diamonds. Struggle is the fire that turns raw gold into something pure. But here's where most people get it wrong. They go through struggle, and instead of pushing forward, they start doubting. They start asking, why is this happening to me? Instead of asking, what is this teaching me? They start questioning if they are even meant for success. But the truth is, struggle is never a sign that you aren't meant for something. It's a sign that you are. The enemy wouldn't attack something that wasn't a threat. Life wouldn't test you if you weren't meant for something greater. The pressure wouldn't be there if there wasn't something valuable inside you trying to come out. When a baby is about to be born, the contractions increase. The pain gets worse right before the birth. That's exactly what happens when a blessing is near. The struggle intensifies. The pressure builds. The discomfort reaches its peak. But that's not the time to quit. That's not the time to give up. That's the time to push harder than ever. That's the time to lock in. Because what's on the other side of that struggle is worth every tear, every sacrifice, every sleepless night. But struggle is not just about the blessing, it's about who you become in the process. Because blessings aren't given to just anyone, they are given to those who are prepared to handle them. A person who has never struggled, never faced adversity, never been tested, won't appreciate or sustain the blessing when it arrives. Struggle builds character. Struggle builds resilience. Struggle forces you to grow in ways that success never could. That's why struggle should never make you run away. It should make you lean in. It should make you sharpen your focus, strengthen your faith, and dig deeper. Because when struggle shows up, it's not there to destroy you. It's there to transform you. It's there to show you what you're made of. It's there to prepare you for the next level. And the people who understand this are the ones who win. They don't complain when struggle comes. They embrace it. They don't let struggle break them. They let it shape them because they know that every challenge is just another step closer to the blessing. Every setback is just a setup for something greater. Every difficulty is just a sign that they are on the right path. But most importantly, struggle makes the blessing that much sweeter because when you've had to fight for something, when you've had to endure, when you've had to push through the hardest moments of your life, the victory means more. The success isn't just about the achievement, it's about the journey. It's about knowing that you didn't quit when you had every reason to. It's about knowing that you stood strong when everything tried to break you. It's about knowing that you earned what's coming next. So if you're in the middle of a struggle right now, don't run from it. Don't let it make you doubt. Don't let it shake your belief. Let it remind you that something big is coming. Let it fuel you. Let it push you. Let it be the proof that your blessing is right around the corner. Most people quit right before the breakthrough. It's a pattern that repeats itself over and over again. People push, they fight, they sacrifice, but when things get too hard, they give up. They walk away not knowing that they were only inches away from success. They let exhaustion win. They let doubt take over. They let fear convince them that what they wanted wasn't possible. But the truth is, if they had just held on a little longer, if they had just pushed one more time, they would have seen the reward for everything they worked for. This is how life works. The closer you get to the finish line, the harder the race becomes. The closer you are to the breakthrough, the more obstacles you'll face. It's almost as if life is testing you, asking, how bad do you really want it? Because anybody can start something. Anybody can begin a journey, set a goal, dream big. But the real question is, can you keep going when everything in you wants to stop? Can you keep fighting when nothing seems to be working? Can you keep believing when every voice in your head is telling you to quit? This is what separates those who win from those who don't. Winners understand that pain is temporary, but quitting is permanent. They know that struggle is just a setup for something greater. They understand that right before the biggest blessings come the biggest battles. And if they can just endure the struggle a little longer, they will get to the other side. But most people don't see it that way. Most people feel pain and assume it means they should stop. They face challenges and think it's a sign that it wasn't meant to be. But imagine if every person who made history had quit when things got tough. Imagine if Thomas Edison had stopped after the first failure instead of pushing through over 1,000 failed attempts to invent the light bulb. Imagine if Michael Jordan had let being cut from his high school basketball team convince him that he wasn't good enough. Imagine if Oprah had let rejection stop her from becoming the most influential woman in media. The reason these people are great is because they refused to let struggle define them. They refused to stop when things got hard. The problem is that most people want success to be easy. They want the dream, but they don't want the work. They want the reward, but they don't want the struggle. They want the blessing, but they don't want to go through the process. And that's why they quit. That's why they give up when things take longer than expected. That's why they walk away when the pressure gets intense. But what if they knew how close they really were? What if they could see that their breakthrough was just one more step ahead? What if they realized that the moment they quit is usually the moment things were about to change? That's what makes this so heartbreaking. Most people will never know how close they came to everything they ever wanted because they stopped too soon. It's like digging for gold. Imagine someone digging in the dirt for years, pushing through exhaustion, setbacks, and doubt. They dig and dig, but they don't see any gold. Eventually, they decide it's pointless, so they put down their shovel and walk away. What they don't realize is that if they had just kept going for one more day, one more hour, one more strike of the shovel, they would have hit gold. They were just inches away, but they stopped too soon. This happens in real life all the time. People grind for months, for years, but because they don't see immediate results, they assume it's not working. They assume that the effort was wasted. But success doesn't work like that. The results are never immediate. The process is always slow. Growth happens beneath the surface before it ever shows on the outside. Look at bamboo. When you plant a bamboo seed, for the first few years, nothing seems to happen. It doesn't break through the ground. It doesn't show any visible growth. But what's happening underground is something powerful. The roots are growing deep, spreading wide, creating a strong foundation. And then, almost overnight, the bamboo shoots up and grows feet upon feet within days. That's how success works. Most people quit when they don't see results right away, not realizing that their roots are growing, their foundation is being set, and their time is coming. The truth is, every struggle, every setback, every delay is part of the process. It's all building up to something bigger than you can imagine, but you have to trust that process. You have to believe that all the work you're putting in is not in vain. You have to have faith that even when you can't see the results, things are still moving in your favor, because the only way you can lose is if you stop. But this is where the mind games begin. Your mind will try to convince you that stopping is the right choice. It will tell you that you've done enough, that maybe it's time to settle, that maybe this dream wasn't meant for you. And that's the moment you have to fight the hardest, because that's when you are the closest. That's when you are right on the edge of something incredible. This is why endurance matters more than talent, more than intelligence, more than luck. Endurance is what carries you through the tough moments. Endurance is what keeps you moving forward when nothing makes sense. Endurance is what allows you to keep believing even when all the odds are stacked against you. The people who win in life are the ones who refuse to quit. They might slow down, they might take a step back to reassess, they might even stumble, but they never stop moving forward. Most people fail not because they aren't capable, but because they don't trust the timing. They want things to happen on their schedule. They want the reward now. They want the breakthrough immediately. And when it doesn't come fast enough, they assume it's not meant to be. But nothing great happens overnight. Every massive success story has years of struggle behind it. Every dream that came true was once just an idea that someone refused to give up on. So the question is, can you hold on when it gets hard? Can you keep pushing when the finish line is nowhere in sight? Can you keep showing up when nobody is clapping for you, when nobody believes in you, when everything in you wants to quit? Because if you can, then you will get to the other side. If you can, then you will see the reward for all your effort. But you have to make that decision for yourself. You have to decide that no matter how long it takes, no matter how tough it gets, no matter how many times you fall, you will not quit, because most people quit right before the breakthrough. And if you refuse to be one of them, you will experience what most people never do. Pressure means purpose is in motion. When you feel pressure, when life feels like it's closing in on you, when the weight on your shoulders feels unbearable, that's not a sign to stop. It's a sign that something powerful is happening. It's proof that you are moving in the right direction. It's evidence that you are stepping into something greater than yourself. The problem is that most people misinterpret pressure. They see it as a problem instead of a process. They think pressure is there to break them, but in reality, pressure is there to prepare them. Think about anything in life that transforms under pressure. A diamond is just a lump of coal until it is put under intense heat and pressure. Without that pressure, without that refining process, it remains ordinary, common, just another piece of rock. But with pressure, it becomes one of the most valuable and unbreakable substances on earth. The same thing happens to people. Those who embrace the pressure, those who refuse to run from it, those who allow it to shape them, are the ones who come out stronger, wiser, and unstoppable. But most people don't want the pressure. They want the purpose, they want the success, they want the reward, but they don't want the weight that comes with it. They don't want the responsibility, the discipline, the long nights, the early mornings, the sacrifice. They want the blessing, but not the burden. But the truth is, the greater the purpose, the greater the pressure. If what you're working toward was small, if what you were called to do was easy, there wouldn't be any pressure. Pressure is proof that what you are building is meaningful, that what you are chasing is valuable, that what you are becoming is rare. Pressure comes in different forms. Sometimes it comes as adversity, as setbacks, as obstacles that make you question if you're on the right path. Sometimes it comes as expectation, as the weight of knowing that people are counting on you, that you have a responsibility bigger than yourself. Sometimes it comes as fear, as the voice in your head that tells you you're not good enough, that you're not strong enough, that you don't have what it takes. But every type of pressure serves the same purpose. It forces you to grow, to elevate, to rise to the challenge. The mistake most people make is that they let pressure push them down instead of push them forward. They let it crush them instead of sharpen them. They see it as something to escape instead of something to embrace. But if you truly understood the power of pressure, you would never run from it. You would welcome it. Because pressure is what reveals your true potential. Pressure is what brings out strengths you didn't know you had. Pressure is what separates those who are merely interested from those who are truly committed. Look at athletes. The ones who perform the best are the ones who thrive under pressure, the ones who want the ball in their hands when the game is on the line, the ones who don't shrink when the moment gets big, the ones who understand that pressure is not the enemy, it's the opportunity, because pressure doesn't just test you, it elevates you. It forces you to dig deeper, to find another level, to push past what you thought was your limit. But here's the thing. Pressure doesn't just show up randomly. It increases when you're on the verge of something greater. It intensifies when you're about to break through. It's like climbing a mountain. The higher you go, the thinner the air gets, the harder it becomes to breathe, the more exhausted you feel. But that doesn't mean you should stop climbing. That doesn't mean you should turn back. That just means you're getting closer to the top. That's why people who avoid pressure never reach their full potential. They stay at the bottom of the mountain where it's safe, where it's comfortable, where there's no resistance. But comfort zones don't produce greatness. Comfort zones don't change lives. Comfort zones don't fulfill purpose. If you want to go to the next level, you have to be willing to endure the pressure that comes with it. The ones who succeed in life are the ones who learn how to function under pressure. They don't wait for things to get easier. They don't pray for the weight to be lifted. They learn how to carry it. They learn how to strengthen themselves so that no matter how heavy life gets, they can keep moving forward, because pressure isn't designed to stop you. It's designed to build you. Think about the people who inspire you, the ones who have changed the world, the ones who have left a lasting impact. Every single one of them has been through immense pressure. They've had moments when they wanted to quit, moments when they felt overwhelmed, moments when they questioned if they could handle it. But instead of backing down, they used the pressure to propel them forward. They used it as fuel. Pressure is not the problem. The way you respond to it is. Some people let pressure paralyze them. Others let it push them. Some people break under pressure. Others break records. The only difference is mindset. The only difference is perspective. But here's the reality. Pressure is never going away. It doesn't matter how successful you become, how much money you make, how many goals you achieve. Every new level comes with new pressure. Every new opportunity comes with new responsibility. Every new blessing comes with new challenges. The question isn't whether or not you will face pressure. The question is whether or not you will let it shape you or stop you. The people who master pressure are the ones who change the game. They are the ones who refuse to let fear dictate their actions. They are the ones who train their minds to see pressure as preparation, not punishment. They are the ones who, when the pressure gets the highest, perform their best, because they understand that pressure is not something to fear, it's something to harness. This is why you can't run from it. This is why you can't pray for an easy life, a life with no challenges, no weight, no adversity, because that's not what builds champions. That's not what builds history makers. That's not what builds people who leave a legacy. The ones who make a difference are the ones who learn how to take pressure and turn it into power. Pressure is what pushes you to grow. Pressure is what forces you to develop skills, to increase your capacity, to strengthen your mind. Pressure is what reveals who you really are, because anybody can show up when things are easy. Anybody can be confident when there's no resistance, but true strength, true character, true greatness is revealed in the moments when pressure is at its highest. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't is simple. Some people see pressure as a reason to quit. Others see it as a reason to push harder. Some people let pressure make them smaller. Others let it make them unstoppable. Some people wait for the pressure to go away. Others rise up and meet it head on. But the ones who embrace the pressure, the ones who welcome it, the ones who refuse to run from it, those are the ones who step into their full potential. Those are the ones who accomplish things that others only dream of. Those are the ones who prove that pressure is not there to destroy you, it's there to transform you. Your blessing requires one more push. Most people don't realize how close they are. They don't see that they are standing right at the edge, right at the moment where everything changes. They don't understand that the only thing between them and their breakthrough is one more push. They've already endured the pain. They've already sacrificed. They've already come too far to stop now. But because they can't see the finish line, because they don't know how close they are, they start to slow down. They start to question if it's even worth it. This is what separates those who win from those who don't. The ones who win are the ones who push, even when they don't feel like it, even when the exhaustion sets in, even when the doubt creeps in, even when the results aren't visible yet. They understand that everything they've been working for is just beyond the pain, just beyond the struggle, just beyond the moment where most people quit. Life will always test you the hardest when you are closest to the next level. Right before the blessing, the resistance increases. The obstacles get bigger. The pressure intensifies. Everything inside of you will want to stop. Everything around you will make you question if it's even possible. But that's when you have to dig deeper. That's when you have to remind yourself why you started. That's when you have to understand that the pain you're feeling is not a sign to stop. It's a sign that the breakthrough is near. Think about a woman in labor. The contractions are the most painful right before the birth. The discomfort is at its highest right before new life is brought into the world. But imagine if she decided to stop pushing. Imagine if she decided that the pain was too much. She would never see the blessing that was waiting for her on the other side. That's how life works. The blessing is already there. The opportunity is already in motion. The success is already written. The only thing left to do is push. But most people don't push when things get hard. They hesitate. They slow down. They start looking for an easier way, but there is no easier way. The only way is through. The only way is to keep going when your mind tells you to stop. The only way is to push through the fatigue, push through the doubt, push through the voices telling you that it's impossible. Because on the other side of that push is everything you've been working for. When you're at the gym and you're lifting weights, the last few reps are the hardest. That's when the muscles burn. That's when the mind starts telling you to put the weight down. That's when everything in you says, I can't do this. But those last few reps are where the growth happens. Those last few reps are where the real strength is built. If you stop before the last rep, you never unlock the full potential of what you are capable of. This is the mistake most people make. They work hard, but they stop right before they would have seen the results. They grind, but when the resistance gets too high, they retreat. They fight, but when the battle reaches its peak, they surrender. And because they stop too soon, they never get to see what was waiting for them on the other side. They never get to experience the reward for all their effort. They never get to live the life that was meant for them because they gave up one push too soon. The ones who make it are the ones who refuse to stop. They push even when it hurts. They push even when there are no guarantees. They push even when the results aren't immediate. They push because they understand that the process will always test them before it blesses them. They push because they know that everything they've endured wasn't for nothing. They push because they refuse to let all the sacrifices go to waste. This is why resilience matters more than talent, more than intelligence, more than luck. Resilience is what gets you through the moments when everything in you wants to quit. Resilience is what allows you to keep going when every voice in your head is telling you to stop. Resilience is what carries you through the struggle and into the blessing. The people who win in life aren't the ones who had it easy. They're the ones who pushed through when everything was stacked against them. There will always be a moment in the journey when you have to make a decision. A moment where you can either stop or push forward. A moment where you can either walk away or give it everything you've got. That moment will define everything. That moment will determine whether you get to experience the blessing or walk away empty-handed. And the ones who choose to push, the ones who choose to fight, the ones who refuse to give up, they are the ones who get to see what was waiting for them on the other side. Most people assume that if something is meant for them, it should come easily. They think that if something is truly theirs, they shouldn't have to struggle for it. But that's not how life works. The biggest blessings require the biggest battles. The greatest rewards require the greatest struggles. The most meaningful successes require the most painful journeys. If it was easy, everyone would have it. If it was simple, everyone would succeed. But the reason only a few people reach the highest levels is because only a few people are willing to push when others quit. This is why mindset is everything. Because when you reach that moment where you feel like stopping, when you reach that moment where you feel like giving up, your mind will try to convince you that it's okay to quit. Your mind will tell you that you've done enough, that maybe this isn't for you, that maybe it's time to let go. And if you listen to that voice, you will walk away from your blessing without even realizing how close you were. But if you can train your mind to push past that moment, if you can train yourself to push through the resistance, if you can convince yourself to give it just one more push, you will get to the other side. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't is not talent. It's not intelligence. It's not resources. It's persistence. It's the ability to keep moving forward when everything says to stop. It's the ability to believe when there's no evidence yet. It's the ability to push one more time when the body, the mind, and the circumstances all say you can't. If you look at the people who have achieved greatness, if you look at the people who have changed the world, if you look at the people who have made an impact, they all have one thing in common. They pushed when others didn't. They kept going when others gave up. They refused to quit when quitting would have been the easy choice. They understood that success doesn't go to the smartest or the most gifted. It goes to the ones who refuse to give up. Most people don't realize how close they are. They don't understand that the blessing is already within reach. They don't see that the breakthrough is already in motion. They don't recognize that all they need is one more push. They don't see it, so they assume it's not there. But the ones who trust the process, the ones who keep pushing even when they can't see the finish line, the ones who refuse to let pain dictate their actions, those are the ones who experience the blessing. It's always darkest before the dawn. It's always the hardest right before the breakthrough. It always feels the most overwhelming right before the reward. But if you can just hold on, if you can just keep moving forward, if you can just give it one more push, you will step into everything that was meant for you. Faith and patience are the keys to unlocking your blessing. Most people want the reward immediately. They want the success, the breakthrough, the opportunity, but they don't want to wait for it. They don't want to go through the process. They don't want to deal with delays, setbacks, or moments of uncertainty. They want to plant the seed today and see the harvest tomorrow. But that's not how life works. Anything worth having takes time. Anything great requires patience. Anything lasting is built slowly. The problem is that most people lose faith in the waiting season. They start strong, full of energy, full of motivation, full of belief. But when things take longer than expected, they begin to doubt. When they don't see results right away, they start questioning if it's even possible. When doors don't open immediately, they assume they were never meant to walk through them. And because they don't have the patience to endure the process, they give up before the blessing arrives. This is why faith is so important. Faith is what allows you to keep going even when there is no evidence that things are working out. Faith is what keeps you moving forward when everything in your life is saying, stop. Faith is what allows you to trust that even though you can't see it yet, the blessing is on its way. Most people struggle with faith because they want proof before they believe. They want to see the results before they commit to the process. But faith doesn't work that way. Faith is believing before you see. Faith is trusting before there's any confirmation. Faith is knowing deep down that what you're working for is coming, even if you have no reason to believe it yet. This is why patience matters. Because even if you believe, even if you're putting in the work, even if you're doing everything right, things still take time. No matter how talented you are, no matter how hard you work, no matter how much effort you put in, there will always be a waiting period. There will always be a gap between the moment you start and the moment you see the results. And what you do in that gap determines everything. Most people waste the waiting period. They get frustrated. They complain. They look at other people's success and wonder why things aren't happening for them. They start questioning their abilities, their purpose, their journey. And in that frustration, they make bad decisions. They settle for less. They rush the process. They try to force things that aren't meant for them. And because they lack patience, they end up missing out on what was truly meant for them. But the people who win are the ones who use the waiting period to prepare. They understand that just because they don't have the blessing yet doesn't mean they aren't getting ready for it. They use the time to build, to grow, to refine their skills, to become the person who can handle the blessing when it arrives. They understand that if the blessing comes too soon, they won't be ready for it. They know that if they receive something before they have the capacity to manage it, it can destroy them instead of elevate them. Look at nature. A tree doesn't grow overnight. A seed doesn't sprout into a plant the moment it's placed in the ground. There is a process happening beneath the surface. The roots are growing, the foundation is being set, the structure is being built. But if you look at the soil and don't see anything happening, You might assume nothing is growing. You might assume the seed is dead. You might assume the effort was wasted. But just because you don't see the growth doesn't mean it's not happening. That's how life works. Just because you don't see immediate results doesn't mean progress isn't being made. Just because you don't see doors opening right away doesn't mean they aren't preparing to open. Just because the blessing hasn't arrived yet doesn't mean it's not on its way. But if you don't have patience, if you don't trust the timing, if you don't believe that what's meant for you is coming, you will give up before you ever get to experience it. This is why the most successful people have mastered patience. They don't rush the process. They don't force things to happen before their time. They don't let frustration push them into making emotional decisions. They trust that if they do the work, if they stay consistent, if they keep believing, everything they want will come to them at the right time. And because they trust the timing, they never stop moving forward. But most people can't handle waiting. They see someone else winning and they start questioning why it's not happening for them yet. They look at social media and assume everyone else is ahead. So they rush, they make desperate moves, they chase shortcuts, and in doing so, they delay their own blessing. Because the truth is, the longer you wait, the greater the reward. The longer it takes, the more valuable it is. The more patient you are, the more prepared you will be when it arrives. This is why you can't compare your journey to anyone else's. Just because someone else got there faster doesn't mean you're behind. Just because someone else's blessing came sooner doesn't mean yours isn't coming. Everyone's timing is different. Everyone's path is different. And if you spend all your time looking at what others have, you'll never appreciate what's coming for you. Most people think that if something isn't happening fast enough, it means it's not meant to be. But that's not true. Delay doesn't mean denial. Just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it won't happen. Just because the opportunity hasn't come doesn't mean it never will. But if you let impatience make your decisions, if you let frustration control your actions, if you let doubt take over your mindset, you will walk away from something that was already yours. Patience isn't just about waiting. It's about how you wait. Are you using the waiting period to prepare, or are you complaining? Are you building yourself up, or are you tearing? Are you staying ready, or are you getting discouraged? Because when the blessing comes, it won't wait for you to get ready. It won't pause while you figure things out. It will arrive and you will either be prepared to receive it or you won't. Look at the greatest athletes, the greatest leaders, the greatest innovators. They all had a period of waiting. They all had moments where it seemed like nothing was happening. They all had seasons of doubt, of uncertainty, of wondering if their time would ever come. But instead of quitting, they kept working. Instead of losing faith, they stayed committed. Instead of walking away, they prepared themselves. And because they did, when their moment came, they were ready. Most people quit too soon. They stop before the breakthrough. They let the waiting period convince them that nothing is happening. They assume the silence means failure. But what they don't realize is that their blessing was already on its way. It was already moving toward them. It was already lined up for them. All they had to do was trust the process and stay patient. This is why you have to keep going. This is why you have to believe even when there's no proof yet. This is why you have to keep showing up even when nothing seems to be changing, because the moment you give up could be the moment right before everything shifts. The moment you stop believing could be the moment right before the blessing arrives. And the only way you'll ever know how close you were is if you refuse to quit. Your mindset determines your blessing. Everything you experience, everything you achieve, everything you step into is first created in your mind. The way you think controls the way you act. The way you act determines the results you get. If your mindset is weak, your results will be weak. If your mindset is limited, your success will be limited. If your mindset is negative, your life will reflect that negativity. But if your mindset is strong, if your belief is unshakable, if your vision is clear, then nothing can stop you from receiving the blessing that's already meant for you. Most people never receive their blessing because their mindset is working against them. They let doubt take over. They let fear control their decisions. They allow negative thoughts to dictate their actions. They tell themselves they aren't good enough, smart enough, capable enough. And because they believe it, they make choices that reflect that belief. They don't apply for opportunities because they assume they won't get them. They don't take risks because they assume they will fail. They don't put in the extra work because they assume it won't pay off. And in doing so, they block the very blessing they were meant to receive. Your mind is a magnet. Whatever you focus on, you attract. If you focus on problems, you will find more problems. If you focus on fear, fear will control your life. If you focus on obstacles, obstacles will continue to appear. But if you focus on solutions, you will find a way. If you focus on growth, you will continue to elevate. If you focus on possibility, doors will start to open for you. Your mind is shaping your reality every single day. And if you don't control it, it will control you. This is why your thoughts matter. The conversations you have with yourself matter. The words you speak over your life matter. The way you think about yourself, your goals, your future, it all matters. If you don't believe in yourself, you will never take the steps necessary to reach your blessing. If you don't believe in your potential, you will settle for a life that is beneath you. If you don't believe you are worthy of success, you will sabotage every opportunity that comes your way. Most people don't realize that their biggest battle is not external, it's internal. It's not the competition that's holding them back. It's not their circumstances that are stopping them. It's not even the challenges they face. It's their own mindsets. It's the way they think about themselves. It's the way they talk themselves out of their own greatness. It's the way they create limits that don't even exist. Because no matter how talented you are, no matter how much potential you have, if your mindset is not aligned with success, you will never reach it. Look at the most successful people in the world. They don't have a different reality. They have a different mindset. They see possibilities where others see limitations. They see lessons where others see failure. They see opportunities where others see obstacles. They have trained their minds to believe that anything is possible. And because they believe it, they act on it. And because they act on it, they achieve it. Your mind is either your greatest weapon or your biggest enemy. It is either pushing you forward or holding you back. It is either creating the life you want or keeping you stuck in the life you don't. The people who succeed in life are not the ones who had it easy. They are the ones who refuse to let their thoughts defeat them. They are the ones who took control of their mind and used it as a tool to build the future they wanted. Most people wait until their circumstances change before they change their mindset. They think, once I have more money, I'll believe I can be successful. Once I see results, I'll start believing in myself. Once the opportunity comes, I'll start preparing. But that's backward. Your circumstances don't change first, your mindset does. You have to believe in yourself before the success comes. You have to prepare before the opportunity arrives. You have to act like the person you want to become before you actually become them. This is why so many people stay stuck. They wait for external proof before they start believing. But the proof doesn't come first. The belief comes first. You have to have faith in what you can't see yet. You have to trust that your efforts will pay off even before they do. You have to think, speak, and act like the person who already has the blessing even when you don't have it yet. That's how you attract it into your life. Most people don't realize that they are in control. They think life is happening to them. They think they are at the mercy of their circumstance. They think that success, opportunity, and blessings are just things that randomly happen to some people, but not to others. But that's not true. The people who receive blessings are the people who create the right mindset to receive them. The people who succeed are the people who have trained themselves to think in a way that attracts success. The people who elevate are the people who refuse to allow their thoughts to pull them down. If you want to change your life, change your mindset. If you want to receive bigger blessings, start thinking on a higher level. Stop allowing negative thoughts to live in your mind. Stop speaking failure over your life. Stop assuming things won't work out for you. Stop telling yourself that you aren't good enough. Start thinking in a way that aligns with the life you want. Start speaking success, speaking confidence, speaking victory over your life. When you wake up in the morning, what are you telling yourself? Are you feeding your mind with doubt and negativity, or are you fueling it with belief and confidence? Are you starting your day focused on problems, or are you focused on possibilities? Every single day, your mind is being programmed. And if you don't take control of that programming, it will control you. This is why self-discipline is so important, because it's not enough to think positively once in a while. You have to train your mind every single day. You have to rewire your thoughts. You have to remove every limiting belief that has been holding you back. You have to replace every negative thought with a thought that moves you forward, because the blessing is already waiting for you, but you have to be mentally ready to receive it. Look at the people who have achieved greatness. They weren't smarter than you. They weren't luckier than you. They weren't given something you don't have. The only difference is that they had the mindset to match their vision. They refused to allow fear, doubt, or negativity to control their actions. They trained their minds to believe that success was inevitable. And because they believed it, they moved like it. They acted like it. They worked like it. If you want a different life, you need a different mindset. If you want bigger blessings, you need bigger beliefs. If you want to go to the next level, you have to think on the next level, because the biggest obstacle between you and your blessing is not your circumstances. It's your mind. The moment you shift the way you think, the moment you start believing on a higher level, the moment you take control of your thoughts, that's the moment everything starts to change for you.